Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tanya, and today I'm going to do a reaction video for you. I'm going to react to Lost in the Pond, who, yes, I've reacted to once before, and in that video, I said that normally I watch him in my own private time. There are a lot of people who react to him. I just like to watch him in my own time. But he did post a video recently, 6 days ago, that I thought would be a really good one to react to, actually, because the thumbnail got me. I'm gonna just say it right now. The thumbnail is of Biscuits and Gravy, and that is something that a lot of foreigners like to say sounds really disgusting and whatever. This is Ghost, I'm sorry. Anyway, so I thought that would be a fun reaction. The title is 6 Food Dishes I Only Discovered After Moving to America. So let's go ahead and get right into this. This is Samara. If you're someone who either A, didn't see my other video of Lost in the Pond, or B, has never heard of Lost in the Pond or watched him before, his name is Lawrence and he's from England. He's lived in the States for, I think, 16 years, and he lives in Chicago, which is in Illinois, which is where I live. Chicago is about 2.5 to 3 hours north of me, kind of depending on like traffic and, you know, and road construction. So I live in Illinois, but no, I don't live in Chicago. There are other towns in Illinois, if you can believe it. So let's go ahead and get started on this video. Okay, here we go.
Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to food. Specifically, food dishes that I only encountered after moving to the United States. And I'll be honest with you, those of you who have seen my food-related videos in the past will know that this video could be a list of 150 food dishes. So I've kept it to 6 in the hope that if it's successful, we'll do a part 2 and a part 3 and a part 4. You get the picture. Now, before we look at the dishes in question, if you've not had a chance to subscribe to this channel, do that now! In the meantime, here are 6 food dishes that I never encountered back in Britain, but did so once I moved here. Before I became a resident of the United States, the words...
I've never had clam chowder. I live in a state that is completely landlocked, and so things like this... In the Midwest, we mostly eat like beef and chicken and stuff. I mean, people eat fish and all that, but it's mostly the coastal states that are like really into the seafood.
Clam and chowder very rarely found themselves emanating from my mouth, and similarly, the food item in question very rarely entered it. In fact, it never did, because clam chowder is, of course, a dish that is specifically synonymous with American cuisine, and even more specifically, Northeastern cuisine. And for my non-American viewers who might be thinking, what the heck is clam chowder? Hopefully not at such a high frequency. Clam chowder is basically a chowder soup that contains clams. Was that really so difficult? And perhaps appropriately for somebody from Old England, I'm most familiar with New England clam chowder. And you might be thinking, ooh, Lawrence, but I thought you lived in the Midwest. And I do live in the Midwest. But something that you need to know about the United States is that while it does have a lot of sort of regional dishes that remain regional to that region, some dishes start life regionally and then make their way across the country. And the same is true of clam chowder. And I remember having it for the first time at a very expensive seafood restaurant. And before you go, oh, Lawrence, it sounds like somebody's getting a little too big for their boots. This was 10 years ago. In Indianapolis. And to prove to you that I remain a completely down-to-earth YouTube sensation, the only other time that I've had clam chowder was in a mall. Because this is America, where there are more food courts than legal courts. That's probably not true.
Meatloaf.
If you'd have asked me 20...
Oh, you guys don't have meatloaf? Oh, no. It's like comfort food. And it's so freaking good. I don't like to cook, and I don't, like, I suck at cooking. If you give me a recipe, I know how to follow a recipe, and I can do really well, because, you know, I'm a Virgo, so I can follow things down to the T, but like I can't just come up with things on my own, sort of thing. And so meatloaf is one of those things that I can make really well. And I can make it usually without the recipe by now just because I've made it so many times. I don't like everybody's meatloaf. I really love my mom's meatloaf. And so I have my mom's recipe and it is so freaking good. And I've given that recipe to a few people and they've tried it and they loved it also. So yes, meatloaf, it's good.
Years ago, Lawrence, what is Meatloaf? My answer would have been unequivocal. Meatloaf is that actor that was in Fight Club, the same guy that used to sing power ballads written by John Steinbeck. I think that's supposed to say Jim Steinman. But during the harsh winter of 2008, was it really that? It wasn't that bad. I was introduced to a food item by the name of meatloaf. And it is literally, as the name suggests, a loaf of meat. Smushed together with other ingredients until it forms the shape of, well, bread, which I've just realised is the name of another 70s rock group. And just like with bread, it's usually served.
Bread. I love the group Bread. That 70s group. Oh my God, they're good.
In slices, which is something I wish somebody would have told me before I tried to eat it with a spoon. Anyway, meatloaf, the food, is not something that most British people would be familiar with, but in doing a little bit of research for this video, I discovered that hacelet, which is a cut of meat that originated in my home county of Lincolnshire, is itself a type of meatloaf that doesn't enjoy anywhere near the ubiquity, a word that they dared me to get into the video, that meatloaf does in the United States. While some of the dishes on...
So he showed something that, I don't know what the hell he showed. That's not like typical meatloaf. That might be like restaurant meatloaf. I don't know. I've never seen it made that way. I'll put a picture here. This is what our meatloaf looks like.
This list came to my attention more or less immediately after I moved to America. There are some I only found out about in the last couple of years. And indeed, those of you who are watching my channel 2 years...
Sorry about that. My cat just messed up the screen. They're always messing with stuff. I'm sorry.
...ago will know that this includes a dish called chicken fried steak. In fact, if it hadn't been for my collaboration with a Scottish YouTube sensation by the name of Sean, I might to this day have no idea what that is.
Chicken fried steak. Have you ever heard of chicken fried steak?
Never heard of it. Where did you see that?
There was in this diner and it was...
I remember this
I
video.
don't know if it was chicken or steak, but I think it's beef.
Anyway, don't take my word for it. Instead, here's me from 2 years ago with more details. That's amazing. It's the gravy that makes it. I'm just going to try a little piece without gravy to see what that's like. Yeah, even without gravy, it's definitely still fried. But Sean was right. I mean, this is pretty phenomenal, and I think that, you know, if I could, I'd eat one of these every day, but I'd go into cardiac arrest. Perhaps the biggest surprise is that while it does indeed contain steak, and while it is indeed fried, there is no chicken.
No chicken.
There are no two ways about it. Americans are...
Cornbread is the best. It's the best thing ever. Everybody loves cornbread. I've never met a person in my entire life who does not like cornbread. It's so good. Even my son loves cornbread, and he doesn't like anything.
Obsessed with chili. You might be thinking, Lawrence, the transition slide didn't say anything about chili. What are you talking
Cornbread
about?
Goes with
well,
chili.
Chili in this country is often accompanied by a side dish that seems particularly popular with my wife's family.
I mean, a lot of people do cornbread and chili, but I would say cornbread is more of a, like you put it with Southern food, like, or you have it with your Thanksgiving meal or Christmas meal, or, yeah, it's more like that. I don't know. People eat it with chili, of course.
Cornbread. And just to be clear, since there seems to be a pattern emerging here, that is not corn as in the new metal band. No.
Is he stalking me? He talked about Bread, the band, and now we put corn. Corn. My favorite band. What's happening right now? I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. Help me. Lawrence, are you watching me?
Corn as in cornmeal, which is the chief ingredient of cornbread. And it's pretty nice when it's not green, which is an allusion to a video I made in which it was. Either way, cornbread is one of many examples pointing to America's obsession with corn. At the state fair, you have corn dogs. At Halloween, you have candy corn. And in everything, you have corn syrup.
I'm one of those people who does like candy corn. I do love candy corn, and I love a corn dog.
Most of us Brits who relocate here to America, hearing the word biscuits and gravy in the same sentence is profoundly frightening, because there are two things that I think most of us don't know until we move here. Number one, the gravy in question is usually this sort of thick, white concoction that's quite
sausage
spicy.
Gravy.
Compare this to the gravy that we're used to back home, provided by the likes of Bisto, which is a darker, thinner kind of liquid. But the other major difference is
we do have the brown gravy here too. And that's our dinner gravy. This is a totally different kind of gravy.
the way in which Americans define the word biscuit. In Britain, of course, a biscuit is what Americans would call
It's like a cookie.
So perhaps you can see why the term biscuits and gravy might make us do a bit of sick. Until we learn that in America, a biscuit is a form of savoury baked bread that they push on you a little too much at Red Lobster. And I say too much because American-style biscuits are actually really nice. And I have been known to devour 6 or 7 of those before my fish and chips arrives. Of course I still eat the fish and chips. Do you think I'm a psychopath? And I must say, since it is a popular dish here in the Midwest, biscuits and gravy is actually quite nice once you overcome the initial trauma. And finally, taco.
Biscuits and gravy is probably in my top 3 favorite foods in the entire world. I will eat biscuits and gravy anytime. It can be breakfast, lunch, dinner. I don't care. It can be almost from anywhere. We can make it homemade. It's good. I can go to a restaurant. It's good. I can go to a fast food restaurant and it's good. Biscuits and gravy is the bomb, and you cannot knock it until you try it. And there's plenty of videos online of foreigners trying biscuits and gravy for the first time, and they all loved it. So don't knock it till you try it. Okay, tacos. Here we go, tacos.
Tacos, an entry that really ought to come with a couple of caveats. Number 1, tacos, like a lot of popular dishes in America, aren't actually American. To which you are thinking, no sh**. They're obviously Mexican, but as I've spoken about a lot on this channel, Mexican food is very popular here in the US. As I've also pointed out, it has in recent years gained a foothold back in the UK, but I haven't been there for any of that. So I only encountered tacos, both the word and the food, in the years that I've been living on this side of the pond. And of all of the many Mexican dishes you can get here, tacos seem to be the one with which Americans are most obsessed. Basically, if you don't know what tacos are, then you're not.
My daughter's absolutely obsessed with tacos. Her nickname when she was younger was Savvy Taco. Her boyfriend is Mexican, and they just go and eat Mexican food. But they go and eat real Mexican food, genuine Mexican food. Whereas I prefer to go to the Tex-Mex places because I like those better.
From North America. You take a mini tortilla. I know how it's pronounced, I'm just messing with them. And you put whatever on them, chicken, guacamole, beans, salsa, and you wrap it up, usually badly in my case, and you just eat about maybe 3 of them. Personally though, I find it easier and
They can be kind of hard to fold over, but I used to work at a taco place when I was younger, and I learned how to do it.
Maybe less messy, just to have a quesadilla. Which makes me realise this entire list could have just been Mexican food. Well, if I've learned anything today, it's that talking about food makes me really hungry, because at this point I haven't yet filmed the bit where I eat the Factor 75 meal. I'm going to do that in a minute and I'm really excited. But I've also learned that there are a surprising number of American recording artists named after food. Who else have you got? The Smashing Pumpkins, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Pearl Jam. If you would like to watch more of me experiencing chicken fried steak and you haven't watched this video yet, you'll do that next. And until the next video, goodbye.
Oh, God. He cracks me up. I can't believe he mentioned corn. That blew my mind. It blew my mind. I was not expecting that at all. That was so weird. That was so bizarre. I love that video, and I love watching Lawrence. My hair is doing its own thing. It has a mind of its own. He is, I love the dry sense of humor that the English have. It's just so funny. But yes, these foods are all so good. And if there's anything on this list that you guys have not tried yet, I definitely suggest that you try them. They're very good. I can't speak to what tacos will taste like in England. But I know that America, you know, we border Mexico. So, I mean, there's a lot of Mexicans here. And so there's a lot of genuine Mexican restaurants mixed with the Tex-Mex restaurants. So people do eat a lot of tacos. And here's Cody to say goodbye with me. If you guys would like to see me do more videos of Lost in the Pond, more reactions of him, let me know, and I will do that. Everybody say hello or goodbye. I'm sorry. Everybody say goodbye to Cody. Bye-bye. But if you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like, subscribe if you haven't done that yet, and I'll see you next time. Bye, poopies.